What's going on, guys? Matty G back here with you on Football with Flags. Thanks so much for joining us as always. I hope you all have been enjoying the African Cup of Nations as well as the Asian Cup currently going on. But today we're going to switch gears and head back to the women's game and give a little preview on the four teams that will be in the UEFA Women's Nations League final coming up here in just a month. So sit back and join us as we take a preview on each of these four sides. We'll start off in Group A1 with Netherlands, who had a rough start, a 2-1 loss to Belgium, but then right the ship against England, an impressive 2-1 victory in their second game, then 6 points against Scotland in the next two fixtures. Then things started to unravel a bit, a 3-2 loss to England that actually set them tied on points, but Netherlands still had the advantage on goal differential, and England come out firing against Scotland in the final match day, scoring a ton of goals. And it takes 2 stoppage time goals for Netherlands to secure their place, take the advantage back against England, and secure this final spot. And very impressive. Again, we saw how England got to the final of the World Cup, the tear that they had been on before then. And for Netherlands, a great run in 2019, but a disappointing result, of course, here in this 2023 World Cup. So to come back in this group, a very difficult group, knowing that they were going to have to face off against England twice and best them throughout a 6-game campaign. Very, very impressive. Lynette Berenstein scores 6 goals for her side. That was by far the most out of anyone on this group. Daphne Van Dam-Salaar, she concedes 4 goals, but still a very impressive time for Netherlands to get to these semifinals with a shot at going to the Olympics this summer. On to Group A2 with France, who of course are the hosts for the Olympics this summer, and we'll get to that point in a little bit, but a very impressive run for them, the only unbeaten side in League A throughout the entire campaign. They scored 9 goals, their biggest result only being a 3-0 win against Austria. But a huge point that I have to mention is the fact that they only concede once in those 6 contests. Very, very impressive for any side to do that. But this side, again, I think maybe the pressure was off them a little bit, knowing that they were already going to the Olympics this summer. But still, this is a great opportunity to get some hardware before they get to that point later on. And again, put on an impressive performance. Obviously, Hervé Renard still in charge of this side. A group that, again, if it weren't for a dramatic shootout against Australia, very well could have gone their way. They could have been in a World Cup semifinal this past summer. This group shared the goals too. Gaiaro and Renard were their top goal scorers with just 2 each. So we had some others get on the score sheet as well. But again, very impressive defensively for this French side as they head into these semifinals. On to Group A3, which was very intense all the way through. And it started off with, again, Germany losing to Denmark in their opening game 2-0. And again, after coming off probably their worst result in a World Cup ever, no one really expected them to come out and lay such an egg as they did against Denmark in this opening fixture. But sure enough, it happened. Credit to Denmark for almost getting the job done and getting to the semifinal, which would have been thoroughly impressive for them to do. But Germany were pretty much chasing Denmark from this point all the way until they got the opportunity to play them again. And they had some impressive results after that poor situation in their first game, and they come back with an emphatic 3-0 win against Denmark in match day 5, which they needed that result desperately. And from that point on, they did have the advantage over Denmark going into the final game, but they were unconvincing as they wind up drawing 0-0 against Wales, only to turn around and have Denmark lose to Iceland 1-0 at home, which very well was an opportunity for Denmark had they been able to collect 3 points in that game to jump back over Germany and take this top spot. So again, impressive for Germany to bounce back and to stay with Denmark after that opening loss, but still on the back end, not being able to finish the job on their own terms as well as they probably should have. But again, this side, I think, very desperate to just get back to their winning ways. And again, they had some impressive results, and now with an opportunity to go up against France with a shot at maybe going to a final and getting some more hardware themselves. Last but not least, Group A4 and your defending world champion Spain. And again, I really thought Sweden had a good opportunity to get some revenge on them after how the World Cup knockouts went. But again, Spain just showing up and proving everyone wrong as to why they are currently the best team in the women's game on the globe. A great 3-2 win to start, an impressive 5-0 win over Switzerland. And again, a couple of really good results. Not too convincing against Italy, but they dominated a good portion of that game. And then a 7-1 win against Switzerland. They wind up losing to Italy, their only hiccup really of the entire campaign. but they never really were out of control of going and taking this group. Even with that loss against Italy, I believe they still wound up securing the top spot after match day 5. And then, of course, again, 5-3 against Switzerland and an 8-goal thriller to end things. Athenian had 6 goals for this group. And again, they pretty much controlled the group from start to finish. Some dominating performances. They've got a new manager in charge as well. They score a high out of any team in League A, 23 goals through their 6 games. They did concede a bit more than I was hoping that they would, especially there on the back end, conceding against Switzerland and then the loss to Italy and then 3 against Sweden. But nevertheless, some really impressive results for this defending world champion side, now looking to go and collect some more hardware here in this UEFA Women's Nations League final, and then maybe get themselves to an Olympics this summer too. Before I let you go, though, a few key statistics to share with each of these 4 sides that they accumulated over their first 6 games. And we'll start with the yellows at the top. Netherlands doing a pretty solid job, just 4 yellows through their 6 games. France leading the way with 12. And the only reason I really mention this is because, again, knowing that these were accumulated over a 6-game period, now going into 90 minutes plus possibly extra time, if a referee feels like they need to take control of the game early on, starts dishing out some yellows early, that could come into play, with how things perform, how coaches address certain situations tactically and everything going into the second half and in extra time if they fear some players are in danger of receiving that second yellow. Moving on now down to the goal differential. France and Netherlands each with 8, but again, keep in mind, France only conceding 1 goal through those 6 games, so really impressive in my opinion just to concede the 1 and have all of those clean sheets. And Germany really in the middle section of their schedule, putting together some good results to get to plus 11. And again, as we talked earlier about Spain conceding maybe a bit too many goals for my liking, still the fact that they put the ball in the back and then had 23 times to have a goal differential of 14. They were finding so many different ways to score. Very impressive for the world champions. Now in the middle, of course, the amount of times each side was offsides. That's not a whole lot when you average that out for each game, but still, we know the importance of being able to stay on side in the final third and around the midfield area when looking to be direct and attack forward against your opponents, and just understanding how important some of those situations are, especially if VAR comes into play, how much that can change the momentum and swing things in a 90 minutes as well. Maybe not so much throughout a 6-game schedule, but now knowing how important it is and how vital those chances are coming down into these semifinals and final, definitely something to keep an eye on. Moving on to corners, pretty average and pretty normal across the board. Spain with 45, but looking at Germany, they were averaging 10 corners per game. Very impressive, and we know how dangerous Alexandra Popp can be, along with some others in the box with these aerial threats. Definitely something to keep in mind as the semifinal goes up against France, how dangerous they can be. That's very impressive, especially for the women's game, to have that many opportunities from a corner to try and score goals. So keep an eye out for that. And again, with Netherlands, they made the quarterfinals in the Olympics back in 2021. Spain have never been there, no appearances. Germany were the champions in 2016, and of course France, the hosts for this upcoming summer in the Olympic Games. Now, something to keep in mind too with all of this, there are only 2 spots available. So if France make the final, that 3rd place game comes into play, because that means the team who goes on with France in the final, as well as the 3rd place winner, will both advance to the Olympics this summer. But if Germany defeat France, then that means the 3rd place game is negated, and the 2 teams, Germany and then the winner of Netherlands and Spain, those 2 will automatically advance to the Olympics this summer. So definitely something to just keep in mind as we move forward with these games coming up in about a month. Well, guys, as always, thanks again so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And again, guys, we just eclipsed 1,000 subs. Thank you so much for those of you who have supported the channel already. We're on our way to 2,000 now, so make sure you guys are part of this if you haven't already joined. And we've got predictions coming up on this, along with the CONCACAF W Gold Cup and plenty more international content coming your way in the near future. Guys, have a blessed day, and we will see you soon. Peace.